Mommy has still having the hickey my baby daddy gave me like a week ago. Hey guys, it's supermexicanmia. Today, you already know, we're just gonna have a little like talk, you know, because girl, I got a lot of stuff to talk about today. And meanwhile, I'm going to be painting my hair. So I'm going to basically pick up where we left off in my life regarding my baby daddy. I messaged him on Father's Day. Happy Father's Day. And it was June 16th. I got him a Father's Day card. Well, it's from, you know, our son, but I bought it. You know, I wrote a little something, and yeah. I sent it via mail, snail mail. No, I'm kidding. But like, you know, I sent it through the post office. I bought a post stamp for it. I shipped it, and I think he got it like sometime way after Father's Day. This is if we would have been still together though. I was like, oh my god, it'd be so cool if I got him like this, like a box or like a set, kind of like influencer vibes, like a PR package vibes, like different types of like weed, because like, you know, he likes stuff like that, you know. And then I was like, oh, that would be so dope, but you know, we're not together, it didn't happen. And I'm really not gonna go out of my way to, you know, do a lot for him, especially I want, like, you know, we're done, right? But important number one, you know, person in both of our lives is like, you know, top priority, our son. And he has not been there for him, and I am saying this with all honesty at this point, right? He left that time, you know, to Las Vegas. It was at like May 15th. I texted him June 16th. He's still in Las Vegas, keep in mind. And so, you know, he lives with his family there and everything, you know. I am here raising our son, you know, because I want to, obviously, because he's my son and I decided to have him, and I love him, my family loves him, my family is helping me raise him. I think, you know, I do a pretty good job, you know, for being a first-time mom, and for being a single mom at that did obviously not decide to be, or did not plan to be, a single mom. Saying like a blessing in disguise, you know, how everything didn't work out between him, and I always knew kind of that it wouldn't, in the, like, you know, deep back of my heart, in like the back of my head, when you have a feeling, but it's like, you know. But anyway, I've talked about all of, like, so much of this in like the past and everything that's happened with us, and like so many of the videos. I have to make a playlist like about like him. But yeah, well, not about him, it's about being with him, and my experience of being with this person. All he does is ask, I think he says thank you or thanks, and if you could see his son. Keeping in mind, he's always, ever since we broke up, guys, always had the opportunity to call, FaceTime, text, message me through social media, not counting Instagram or TikTok. When we broke up in December, January, I unblocked him there because I unblocked him for sure, like January, February. I never blocked his number, never like, you know, did anything of that and regarding, because, you know, I know, like, I've always respected him, you know, he's his father, you know, to a certain degree of that, you know, point back then. Now it's a whole different thing. He never called, texted, and he didn't, nothing, guys, nothing. Maybe, I think he wouldn't always stalk my Instagram. He still currently does stalk my Instagram. He never follows me. I think I mentioned this before in a past video. I requested to follow him, I believe, I want to say back in like either March or May, if not April, and he never accepted my request. And he knows this, and he knows he's done this, and I literally brought it up to him in person, and I was like, yeah, like, I don't know what your deal is, but what I think happened is that, like, you know, I saw like his jump and following, and it's always been like this. When I met him, I was like, oh, that's like a red flag for me, like, you know, like, if we're actually gonna do this, like, this is like, it's like sus that you follow so many girls, like, it's like weird, and like so many people, like, it's, you know, it's uncomfortable, obviously. And then, you know, not everyone thinks the same as I do, but it's, you know, this is my, you know, obviously a big thing for relationships, especially with like, you know, how social media is and everything, you know. But then, you know, supposedly he was like, okay, yeah, like there's just people I follow, I don't know what, like he doesn't have any friends that are girls, I don't know what, right? Then, like, you know, fast forward to a lot of like stuff. I've talked about this multiple times. You guys could go check out their videos. And I'm not gonna go in depth, you know, but it's just like a little glaze over this. You know, supposedly so it ended up being that he did have a lot of like, you know, female friends, and I was like, okay, like it's weird because you only kept in contact with your male friends, and none of your, you know, female friends came to our baby shower. So that's kind of sus. Like if they were, I don't know, I feel like if someone's your actual friend, like, you know, you'd obviously bring it like to my attention, you know, because I literally, I was like, yeah, I don't really, it's weird that people, like to me, when they're in a heterosexual relationship and, you know, you have friends that like are girls, it's just, I find that like, I don't, you know, I'm not with that, you know. So the reason why he didn't accept me, or this is why I think, okay, I have my theory. I think that he was like, you know, obviously talking to so many girls, and he realized, and I know because I know when he's, you know, he's active, obviously, because I think, oh, he's on his phone, right? Because I'm texting him, I'm messaging him, you know, we're texting back and forth, like through messages. I request to follow him. He does, like, literally currently, like, I'm texting him, I know he's replying back and stuff. I request to follow him, and like he instantly stops, like basically be on his phone. Like, he doesn't reply back to my messages, and I'm just like, oh, girly, you know, like, yeah. He doesn't request my, or accept my hello request. I think he unfollows a lot of people at this point, but he never accepts my requests. And I'm like, okay, you know. And also at this point, he's like, you know, taking off my whole family, like, members, you know. So I'm just like, yeah, like, you're up to something, but, you know, like, it's whatever. Oh, so that was me trying to, like, you know, like, not like reconnect, but like, you know, like, be like, hey, yeah, you know, not like friends, but like, let's be like, you know, mutuals, like, so we could be like, okay, like, sorry, again, like being friends, so we could be in a better relationship in terms of maybe a friendship for our son. But he didn't accept my request, so I was just like, okay, whatever. I don't have a necessity to, like, you know about him, know what he's doing every day. I mean, I could all honestly care less, you know, like, I'm done with that. I'm done with him. Can't say the same for him because obviously he always needs to know what the fuck I'm doing. And it's funny because, but he stalks me, and I'm just like, why don't you follow me? It's like weird. And I've always told him that ever since then, like in December, like January, when we broke up. But he, you know, is over there in a different state. For a month went by, no contact. Not because of me, probably different priorities, I don't know, more important than his son. So he asks about his son after I send Happy Father's Day. Again, if I do not contact, if I do not text, it takes him either forever to ask about, you know, our son, or it's something, you know, personal regarding him or something like that, and like his things or whatever. It's very unfortunate. Like, oh girl, I've always had talks to my family. I'm like, yeah, I really don't know, like, if my father did this, you know, and I learned about this, that he did this, like, you know, basically did not even like care about me growing up. Oh girl, I'll pick a different I just wouldn't care about my dad at all. Like, that's insane. But, you know, I had my dad, like, you know, I had a dad growing up, so I don't know how, like, it sucks like for my son. You guys have no idea how many nights I'm like bawling because of this, or I used to bawl because of this. But girl, it was bad. Like, this is why this entire time, I think I went like, what was it, 5 months considering, or like, you know, thinking about not being together with this person. But I did stay because of my son. For my son, I thought I was doing him, like, you know, good, but it was just destroying me. So he asked if he could see him. I sent him a picture of him. I think he was eating breakfast at that point. All he says is he looks huge. I mean, out of that, I'm not gonna, you know, I don't know what I could have said, you know, honestly. Because the thing is, if, you know, if I do reply to a lot of things that he said, I'm pissed, you know, because it's just like, how do you let this happen? How do you, like, abandon your family? How do you just, like, completely disregard, like, you know, your partner as supposedly the one that you're gonna marry, because you've told her many times that you're gonna marry her, you know, like, this basically destroyed them. I did not you know, I broke up with this person. You guys know already everything, the whole war. This person had a chance to do something. At this point, it's like, you know, every day it's getting less and less and less of the chance they have, you know, of, you know, let's like getting our family together again. But, you know, like props to us, girl, because we're doing it, you know, and, you know, we didn't plan on doing it alone. But, you know, I am very proud of myself and very happy and grateful for my family. Obviously, he's going to look huge to you because you don't see him every day. Like, you're not there. About 10 days go by. Still nothing, guys. Like, no, that was like it. That was a whole conversation that day. And yeah, this is what I'm saying about like how inconsistent this person is, and what of. In all honesty, like it's not even like, oh, pardon me or like anything, because this is the reality of it. Like, a shitty dad, bro. Like I could not imagine if my father, like, I'm just that ass, guys. Y'all know my father is lit as fuck. You know, my dad is like, you know, he's my dad, bro. You know, like, because he's my dad, because he's my dad. He's there for us. Oh my god, girl. Like, you know, you guys know it. Like, he came over here, like, you know, he made us, like, he did so much. He did so much for us, guys, and he still does. He still does, like, and he tries. Obviously, like, you know, on the daily, I'm just like, I don't give a fuck about this person. But, you know, like, if I were to actually talk about it and like be like, yeah, like, you know, that trend, like, oh, if you ask me about this, I'm like, yeah, whatever. But like then I'm like, you know. He says or lets me know that he's going to come from, you know, Las Vegas to Los Angeles, and he asked, you know, when he could visit his son. So I let him know and everything, like, you know, the times and, you know, the days and whatever. Keeping in mind, you know, I work, and my family has told me before that they want me to be present. Like, before, I thought it was best if I didn't, you know, basically having any contact with him, like in terms of when he visits my son and stuff. But then my mom was like, yeah, it's just, I feel uncomfortable, like, with it just being him and me, because then she feels like that she still has to be like on it, like watching my son while my son is with his dad, because the dad doesn't really do 100,000% good job on, like, you know, being there with my son, with our son. So my mom like asked me, like, oh, hey, like, it's better if you just, like, you know, when he visits him, like, it's better if you're just there. Like, it's better if, like, all of us are here, but, like, you know, more you, because you're his mom. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, he lets me know, like, what time, or, like, you know, when he's going to come over to visit his son. And I'm like, okay. So he basically went almost a month and a half, I want to say, without seeing him. It makes me emotional, because I'm like, yeah, I cannot imagine going like a certain time without seeing my son, you know. I don't think I've gotten any longer than seeing my son with, like, for 24 hours. But, you know, I ask about him and everything, you know, I text him constantly, you know. I don't judge you as, you know, a person, like, between you and me. I judge you as a father, though, for sure, because this is our child. This is my child. I'm not using anything as an excuse. I'm still going on. I'm still doing what I gotta do. I'm still grinding. You know, I got a job, like, bam. Like, you know, I was like, okay, I started paying, like, you know, like, my rent and stuff. You know, I buy my son everything, like, you know, everything he needs. Yeah, my parents help me out, but because they choose to. It's not because I ever ask them to help me out. You know, they're like, oh no, like we got this, like, we got the, like, the pups for him, like, oh, like, do you need anything, like, milk for him, because they're just gonna have to buy the groceries and something. I'm like, yeah, but I mean, you know, I was already going to, like, get it for him. Or I was like, you know, I'll pay you back, or, like, you know, like, for it. And they're like, no, like, you know, it's fine. Obviously, we're family, we live together, you know. It's like, not like whatever vibes, but it's whatever vibes, you know. And then I'm just like, yeah, because I also obviously contribute a lot, and I, you know, obviously buy a lot of stuff for them too, or, like, you know, like, we help each other out. We have a storage unit, and I took over that payment. Actually, I understand work trips, okay? That's a whole other thing, though, girl. That's a whole other thing, you know. I understand that, or I would be more like, oh my god, at least he's working, at least he's providing for our son. Biologically, you are his father, okay? Because of me, because I let you freaking, like, you know, like, come inside me and stuff, like, you know, I let this happen because I wanted this to happen, because I thought we were gonna be a family and stuff, you know. You don't even see him every day. You don't even living in the same state as your son. And he came over. I think it was like, I don't know if it was like that same day, like the 28th, 29th. Like I've said, a month, you know, and a half went by of him seeing him in person. And he let me know that he was here and everything. And guys, whenever I say hi to him or my son sees him, I'm always like, look, like, baby, it's daddy, you know. I'm like excited and happy for my son. I'm like, girl, like, you know, there's your dad and stuff. I'm never going to like show any ill intent or anything bad, you know, in front of, especially in front of my son, girl, like, you know, regarding his dad. So, you know, I'm like good, even though I'm like not good inside, you know. But you know, I do anything for my son, you know. He visited him for about 2 hours, and when he's here, at least from what I know, he has a job of taking care of dogs, like walking them or being at a weed shop and working for that weed shop. And I know for a fact that he does get paid in weed for sometimes. And yeah, because he has let me know before. He's let my mom know before. He still recognizes you and he loves you, dude. Like, he loves you despite the fact that you're not there for him, you know? And I'm just so shook how like someone could do that to their own child. Yeah, he brought up like, oh, we should go to like the beach or something. And I was like, oh, like that'd be great. And then he was like, tomorrow, and I was like, oh yeah, sure. At this point, it was like really hot though. Okay, so then we send each other pictures or like, you know, videos. This is crazy because this is the first time that he's actually taken pictures of me with my son and recorded a video that I did not have to ask. I took pictures of him watering, you know, plants and stuff with his son, and then he took pictures of me. So then I was just shook because I was like, oh wow, like I didn't like realize that he was taking pictures because he didn't really say anything either. You know, when I take pictures, I'm very like, you know, I'm taking pictures. With him, he's just kind of like, it looks like he's kind of like, you know, not really like doing it. Like, he looks like he's on his phone. It felt nice, and it also felt kind of like sad and like, bro, because like, you know, it took him this long, you know, kind of vibes. Like, we're not even together anymore to be like, oh, like we have memories together. It was the next day, and basically asked like, you know, if we're still like, you know, up for this, if we're going to the beach. And I was like, honestly, it's like really hot. Like, I don't, you know, I don't want to take my son out like in this, you know, temperature. Like, it was hot, guys, like hot, like all those like a couple of days. And then he was like, yeah, like me too, kind of like he doesn't want to go because, you know, he's tired and stuff. How about we reschedule for the next day? Oh, because I worked the next day, because as you guys know, I at this point I think I took over my mom's job, like my sister and I. So then I was like, well, I think I can do like this weekend, you know. Obviously he can still visit and stuff, so as you know, at a certain amount of, like, you know, the times and the days I gave him. The next day goes by, like that Monday, and out of nowhere he texts, what did you do with my gaming chair? So when we were together, he got this gaming chair. It was like a red and black one, I think off of Amazon. He got it, and it was just taking a lot of space here, and I had literally no use for it, and we did not have space at the storage for this chair. And like, you know, to make the time or take the time to like take the chair and go to put it in the storage and then come back, you know. So then I was just like, oh girl, like it's literally just here. It's, you know, bothersome to me because I mean, like, oh, it's a huge, you know, gaming chairs are pretty big, you know. I decided to, you know, give it to my sister. Keeping in mind, this whole entire time he's never asked about this chair, he's never brought up this chair. A lot of things he has brought up, like that, you know, he had in the storage or that he had here, but not the gaming chair. So I don't know where he asks about his gaming chair. Not his son, but his gaming chair. I think this has happened before. He asked about something and it was not about his son, and I was like, oh, thanks for asking about your son, like he's good, you know. But like, it was so funny, and like afterwards he was like, yeah, thanks, or something like that. And then I replied to his actual like, you know, question. It was regarding his thing. This was like way back then, and I was like, I'm funny. I don't think I've mentioned this before, or maybe I did. When literally, I don't know if it was like right when my son was about to be born, or like that same day or around those days. But we were at the hospital for sure. That I was gonna give birth that. My sister was working, and as well as her boyfriend, and you know, I was like, you know, getting ready to go to the hospital and stuff. So, or like we were there, but you know, I'm the one that's pregnant. I can't really be on my phone, you know, because they're gonna be doing stuff on me. So the only one that had like time or like a chance to be on his phone was at the time my boyfriend, my ex, you know. We asked him and he said yes, right? Basically, my sister sent him the money if he could get Disneyland the key, magic keys. And you know, it's certain, if you guys know, like, or have tried to get them, it's, girl, it's like, you know, wait for the queue, and then you put in your information and you buy, you know, and they charge you for, I think it's like, I don't know if it's a down payment, but like for the first month too, it's like something, it's like a lot, like, you know, it's like payment, you know, but you gotta be fast because you gotta beat everyone else, you know, to get like the magic pass. So he did that for us. He got it, and because he got it on his card, because my sister sent like, you know, the money to him, we thought we could change the card information in the future, but we literally couldn't. And ever since then, you know, monthly payments, but on his card. My sister would always send, I think the monthly payment was like 50 something, but she'd always send like, you know, like the exact amount. Then I broke up with him around early December. I think it was the 6th. He stopped paying for it. She gave him at least 200 for sure to pay for the last 4 payments. You know, I think it was December, January, February, March. Yeah, because it was a year for the March, because my son was born in 2024 and then 2025 and come up. So her payments were like all set. She gave him like the money, right? She gave it to him in cash at work because they both work together. He did not pay for it. Obviously, we know because their magic keys stopped working. Like they were no longer like valid. But, you know, obviously once you miss the payment, you know, and girl, and thing goes through, like, you know. And yeah, I never brought it up. My sister lost $200 that she gave to him because he just kept that money. He did not do the payments, you know, and that's what we planned. If you have things like that, regardless of a breakup, girl, you go through with it. One, that's not even me. Like, that's a part of that, you know, that's my sister and him, and like, you know. But she did her part. She gave him the money. She gave him the $200. Never did I bring it up, because the thing is, he didn't have a job. You know, I understand a lot of things. You know, I'm like, you know, okay, I get it, right? But yeah, so I gave each to my sister. And then this is my, like, you know, reasoning or explanation. He never paid my sister back. He hasn't to this day either. So you know, I kind of get it, but I kind of don't, because the thing is, he bought, like, and it could be tax money too, but it's still money. It's still his money that he doesn't give for his son. He got himself a lot of, like, you know, he got himself new shoes, a couple of new shoes, like, you know, a scooter, an electric scooter. Like, it's like he has Beats. I'm like, dang, okay. He bought his sister Labubu. He has the money for certain things, for certain people, not his son, or to pay back my sister. So he had nothing to say, basically. All he did was just basically leave me on red after I said that. He says that he's going to visit our son, and it's for July 4th. I think it was a Friday. Yeah, it was a Friday because I didn't go to work because we closed that day. Okay, so he visited him for, I think this time like about 4 hours. He came like 11:40 something. He left like close to 4. I think this day we did have sex though. And it was funny though, guys. It was hilarious because he always does this. He always wants to like have a reason, or he always wants to have like a way of touching me, you know. Like, I think it was this day, if not Monday, my son was on this toilet, you know, and then, like, you know, we were there with him. He has these like bluey toys that he plays with. Like, he always asks them. He knows they're in the shower, like in his little like tub toy area. So then, like, you know, I always get them, give to him. They have a little suction cup on them because it's like it was like a part of this bluey book. I keep the book and like the toy separate. Like, the book is with the books, the water toys are with the water toys. His dad like puts it on his forehead because it's a suction cup, you know. His dad was like sweating. He puts it on him, on his stomach area, you know. And then, like, I was like, oh, that's so funny, like, you know, it sticks to your forehead and stuff. And then, like, you know, he's playing with our son, you know. I'm there and I'm like, like, this is funny. And then I'm like, oh, that's weird, like, it doesn't stick on my head. You know, I have a smaller forehead than he does, but also his forehead, he was sweaty at this time, right? He put it on my head and I was like, oh, it does stick. He always wants to have like, you know, I do not physically interact with him. He's the one that starts the physical interaction with me. I do see, you know, having sexual intercourse and being intimate as spiritual, you know, but at the same time, he's like the last person I, you know, done anything with. Well, girl, like, you know, might as well, like, you know. But I do ask for him to be protected if, you know, we do anything like that. So we'd be on the bed, but, like, you know, playing with our son and stuff. And then he would just, like, you know, kind of caress me or hold my thigh and then, you know, grab my butt, you know. And I'd be like, bro, like, this dude. I'm like, oh my God. I'm not doing anything, you know, but I'm just like, like, you know, I like it still. Obviously, I like, you know, that intimacy of, like, you know, being held. But it's not that, like, you know, I feel like, oh, we're together again or whatever, you know. It's like, and it's just so funny because I've told him this dude multiple times. I'm like, girl, like, we're not playing family. Like, the fuck, you know, like, you stay in your lane, I'll stay, you know, I'm staying in mine. Like, and also I do not want our son to see us together, broski. Like, That's the main 1000% point. Like, we can do whatever we want, you know, apart from our son. But do not bring our son into this, you know. We didn't end up going to the beach because it was hot again. We have a water park nearby, and I was like, oh, let's just take him there. It was so much fun. I've never, like, you know, that's the park I go to, but I've never been to the water area of that park because before my son was like a little younger, and I was like, you know, but now he's like good. He had so much fun. It was really fun, guys. It was sad because you have all these hopes and expectations of, you know, when you're pregnant or when your baby's newborn, like, oh, how will they be, you know, when they actually walk, when they're like toddlers. But you know, I would always imagine it being us together, like as a family, and you know, we're not a family anymore. I remember, like, I just kept on thinking that they, like, you know, that whole time, like, it would have been nice to still be together, you know, like, to go places as a family. It sucks, guys, you know, it sucks so much. Kind of like very similar to that time we went to the science center, and that same day again, that's when we started, like, you know, he hugged me and stuff, and I'm like, girl, and I was just like, I don't know why he acts in public that we're a family. In reality, we're freaking not. Like, it's so weird. I forgot to mention that morning he did get us breakfast, or like he offered. We had already eaten, but yeah. And I was just like, bro. And he always does that. He always like, that's like his thing, or that used to be like our thing together. Like, you know, being like, oh, like he'll get breakfast first, and I don't know what, and then we'll eat inside, you know. But I'm just like, no, we're fine. Like, he already ate. Like, you know, not like, you know, we don't need you, but like, you know, he came, we went and everything, and then supposedly he was going to come back. He told our son that he was going to come back that same day because he went to go walk the dogs, like at the job that he works at. I think he was just tired or something to like come. And then, you know, I got a little mad, and I was like, okay, just next time, literally do not promise your son, because he literally told him this in person. He was like, okay, I'll see you later, like I'll be back, you know, at this time or whatever. I'm like, don't say that, don't do that, because he literally, like, he knows, he's conscious of a lot of things, because once he sees his dad again after certain, like, a long period of time, he doesn't see him again for like a little while, he knows, he starts, like, you know, feeling a certain way. And I've noticed it, guys, because, you know, I live with him. So then I'm like, yeah, like, just don't lie to your son next time, you know. He's like, I'm sorry, I didn't know I was gonna be this tired, I don't know what. And I'm like, okay, like, I'm exhausted every single day, but I still make it work. And that same day we had a party. They were going to, it's our neighbors, just like right down the hallway, you know, outside of our apartment complex. And I had invited him to this party so long ago, and he said he forgot that I invited him. And I was like, okay, well, you're invited, like, you know, it's whatever, you know, if you can't make it, it's fine, he's there, whatever, but just don't lie to our son, you know, next time, as I have told you multiple times before to not do that. So he came and he went to the party. Like, we were there already before, but like, you know, he went to the party, and he got so happy when he saw his dad. And yeah, afterwards, you know, he came back home. Like, we weren't there too long. He had a lot of fun. It was such a cute little party. It was like his neighbor's second-year-old, like her second birthday. I was just like, bro, because, like, you know, the way that he was acting and everything, and like the things he would say, basically kind of being like he wants us together as a family again, you know. And I hate it because he gets in my head, you know, and I'm like, okay, like, not like we're together, you know, but it's just like, all right, like, you know, I need to see improvement. Like, I need to see you like actually want this. Like, you know, let's work, you know, together on this. But it's, I don't even know if it's like just lies or just false or stuff, just so he could like sleep with me again. But it just sucks, you know. And like, you know, I don't mind sleeping with him, you know, but like at this point, it's just kind of like, bruh, like last time, you know, it was just, he always just like gets in my head. It sucks so much because it's like he's an ex and he's meant to stay an ex. He does this, he leaves, he comes back, you know, we do all this stuff. He says, oh yeah, like, I want to work on myself, I'll be better, I don't know what. And then he just goes on and does the same thing, right? So I was just sick of that, and I was like, yeah, dude, like, I just wanted to hang out with you. Like, literally all I wanted was for us to be a family, to spend time together. That's all I wanted, like, you know, when we're together. But you never made the time for us. You're always smoking, you're always on your phone, you're always doing other stuff. You did not want to, like, coming home, the first thing I do is always say hi to my son. He did not want to do that. Like, you can just tell, like, we'd always have to be like, you don't want to say hi to him? Like, girl, what the fuck? Especially the way that he was acting the whole entire time, you know? Because it's like, you can't just play family, like, play pretend and stuff and, like, act like as we're fine, because we're not fine, you know, after everything that's happened. So then we talked about it, you know, and I was crying, and, you know, we were kind of emotional, all of us, and we did have sex that night. and I believe he left in the morning and he came back later that day too. You know, that's when we were talking about like a lot of stuff, how he's like he'll be better and I don't know what, you know. And it's funny and it's crazy because I know a lot of like, you know, like single moms, baby mamas that like go through this with their baby daddies, you know, or with the father of the child. So then he left and everything, but then he came back that same day later on. My parents asked him if he could, you know, buy them beer, but we obviously give him the money, like Zelle it to him for it. And he ended up getting me and him twisted teas, you know, drinking and staying up, watching Sinners. It was fun, you know, because I'm like that's all I want to do. I want to hang out with you and stuff, you know. Like, yeah, like obviously I still have feelings and stuff. It's easier for like, you know, me like to like move on or like go forward with my life when he's not there in front of me or with me, you know. It's a completely different story when he's there physically and, you know, once our son's asleep and stuff. And also when my son's awake, it's different, you know. Yeah, I have a lot of feelings for this person. This person I know has lied to me and has done absolute horrible things to me. I'm a very forgiving person and I kind of hate that about me too. I still put myself through this, you know, because it's me, you know. At the end of the day, obviously I make my own decisions, my own actions and stuff. But that was a very memorable night, you know. Like again, it felt as if we were like together again. The next day was, I didn't know, but that was the day that he was gonna leave to Vegas. Like I knew like afterwards, you know, but like I didn't know when he first came, you know, that he was gonna leave so soon because usually he would stay a little longer. And it's so funny. I would always be like, why is he gone? He should be gone by now. But he'd like stay like for a while and I'd be like, bro, in like LA, not like with us, you know. That same Monday, I was like, oh, you're leaving Monday, like, so you're not gonna be there for our son's pediatrician appointment because he obviously probably forgot. And he was like, oh, what time is it at? Kind of like he forgot again. And I was like, well, it's in the morning, it's early. And he was like, yeah, I'll be there because he leaves like late at night or something to Vegas. I think that's on his bus ride, it's over there. So then he slept over and then we went to his appointment and it was so much fun. And then my sister came too because, you know, we never really trust him to like actually be there for our son in terms of that way because the past 2 appointments he missed like insane. But yeah, I went in with him, with the father. My sister stayed with the stroller in the waiting room. But you know, she was there like close by if anything needed to happen. My son was good. He got like a shot. He didn't cry. Appointment was good. And then afterwards, we went over to my sister's house, or like my son and I, you know, we needed to go over. Obviously, the dad's not invited there anymore. But then the dad went back to his aunt's house, like, you know, where he stays in LA, if it's not with us. And he said that, you know, later, like during the day, he'd come back, get his things, because he left, you know, from the sleepover and stuff. He left a couple of things at my place. So, you know, we were there with my sister. It was so much fun. And it was funny because he would ask about him at this point, like more and more, you know, like how he's doing and I don't know what. And like, you know, because we did talk about that. I'm like, yeah, like you don't even like, it would be nice if you were, like, you know, more involved in him or asked about him, because it got like, and you know, I cried when, like, we were like cuddled up. I was like telling him, I was like, I don't know how you could go, like, you know, how so long for your son. Like, just imagine if he was 12 years old, he would hate you. And like, I wholeheartedly know that because I know of people that's happened. You know, their dads aren't in their life. They're like 12, and yeah, some people end up hating them. Some people end up resenting them. I'm like, yeah, like you're lucky that he's like a baby. You know, he loves you so much, and I'm like, you need to appreciate that fact. You don't take it for granted that your son loves you. You know, because you went a freaking month and a half, and the longest before that I think was a month. So yeah, he came over again and everything, and then he left. He left like I think around 6ish. I don't know, but yeah, it was so sad. I was like, or like, you know, I felt, you know, obviously in a week, so I'm like, oh, I don't know when the next time your dad's gonna come, but like, you know, I didn't tell that to my son, but you know, to my head. But next, I told him, like, and I always tell my son, like, oh, you'll see him another time. You'll see him, like, next time. I don't tell him a certain date, certain time. I'm like, you'll see him next time, you know? He would ask about his son, which it surprised me, you know, because I'm like, oh, wow, he's actually asking about his son for the first time. After that, you know, we talked mostly about, like, you know, our son and stuff. And it's funny because, you know, how I told you, like, oh, it's like, he would be like, oh no, like this time is different. And I'd be like, yeah, but you always go like month. And I know that was like what you said before, like in December, when you were like, I'll try to visit at least once a month. And I'm like, yeah. And I told you then, and I'll tell you this now, like once a month of visiting your child is nothing, especially if you do not contribute financially, you know, and especially if you do not like freaking like have like, you know, FaceTime or text or call him, like, you know, not texting, but, you know, asking about him at least like every single day. Like, girl, that's like nothing. after my son sees his dad, like after a period of time of not seeing him, he sees him, you know, and like, you know, he sleeps over and stuff. He sees him like on a regular basis, right? And he leaves back to Vegas, obviously, like kind of instantly. It's instant for my son, you know, like he's like, I see my dad, I see him for like a good amount of time, I don't see my dad. It causes so much shift and like, you know, like problems with his sleep patterns. Again, he wakes up screaming or like crying, and it's bad and it sucks. Obviously, I'm the one, you know, helping my son through this. If not my mom, it's helping me go through help my son go through this. And it just sucks, you know, because I mean, I don't want to see I mean, who wants their son to go through this? And it just sucks. But yeah, I told him, you know, he's been doing this lately, and I didn't really ever want to tell you, but it's usually common. I've noticed it. I'm not sure, I'm not 100% sure this is the reason, right? But I have a feeling, I have an inkling that this is the reason of why my son screams at night sometimes after when his father's gone. Because after some days that he doesn't see his dad, like after he's gone, after he, like, let's say he's in Vegas again, like 5 days go by, a couple of days go by, you know, his sleep patterns start kind of getting back to regular again. Once he sees his father, it shifts again, like after like he leaves again, you know, because it's like I think he misses him. But then he realizes or kind of gets used to his absence, so that his sleep gets back. And it just sucks. And I told him, like, you know, I never want to tell you this, but like I think this is the reason, you know. It could be a lot of other reasons, obviously, but you know, and I think that's one of the main reasons. Also, like when my son was young, you know, like my like he the ex would always scream at me and slam doors when he would get angry and just get up all in my face. It would be very uncomfortable, and he would do it in front of our son while he was sleeping and while he was awake. So some time goes by, like, you know, he is being more active in terms of asking about his son, you know, how he is and stuff. And then he's like, oh, like, you know, you tell me when to FaceTime. I'm like, girl, I'm not gonna make the time like to FaceTime you. Like, if you want to FaceTime your son or you want to contact or ask about your son, you go for it, you know. I will respond if I have time or like when I have time. Or like, you know, we could call back or something. But girl, like if you want to do something, it's not gonna be me anymore, you know. It used to be me all the time, and I'm done and sick of that because it's always on me. I'm always the one, you know, making the time and stuff. Like, geez, even the fact that I barely have time for myself, you know, and now I have to make time for, like, for you, in terms of that way of like, oh, I have to make sure your dad knows this. Oh, I have to make sure like your dad does, like, you know, blah blah blah. So he FaceTimed him, and he was happy to see him. He doesn't get as excited as he sees his aunts, or at least his Ova, his aunt, like my younger sister. But you know, he was happy. Then that Thursday, he asks like, "How am I doing?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's weird. Like, not like, you know, I appreciate it, but like it's just like, you know, the point is our son. Like, you know me, like not like I don't care about you and stuff. Like obviously I'll always care about him, but not like to ask, you know, like how are you and stuff. Like that's, I don't know. It's just different, you know. Like I appreciate it though." He asked, like, you know, when we would go visit him. I was already like considering like, oh, like we could maybe visit his dad, right? The ice raid's going on and everything. I was like, it's not a good time. Also, I did let him know, if you ever do want us to visit you or anything, like you have to purchase, like, if not, like, you don't have to purchase my plane ticket, at least his plane ticket, and help me pay for the stay, you know, something. But like if we do ever go, it might be like, you know, later on, because, you know, it's not my priority to have my son, make sure my son has a relationship with you, you know, or to see you. Like that's your job, not my job. And like, girl, with everything going on, like, you know, we have other important things to spend on, like, your money on, you know, like you're not contributing financially. So I mean, girl, I have to do everything. So yeah, I was like, you know, but you're always welcome to get, like, you know, our plane tickets and everything, you know, if you would like, and the place to stay, you know, we'll just go whenever, like, you know, you get it for. Like I don't mind. When I remember when he left, I was like, yeah, just don't become a stranger, you know, to your son, like to me. And I told him, like, I don't mind, like I mind, but I don't mind, you know, because obviously I care about this person and stuff, and I still have very strong feelings, obviously slowly fading away, but you know, I thought they're still there. I'm not gonna just, you know, move on instantly. I'm not that person that's like, oh, I'm just gonna find someone to move on or whatever, you know. It's like, no, I'm very true to myself. I'm very loyal to myself. As much as I'm like, you know, like, oh, he does this, he's wrong, or like he's bad, and I want, you know, when he's good, and I'll call him out for it too, like to be like, yeah, he's becoming a little better of a father, you know, in the sense that at least he's asking for his son now on a daily basis, or asking me how his son is, you know, compared to no contact, you know. But I had a dream. I think it was from that Thursday to Friday, like night and morning. In the dream, I like caught him texting. I'm not sure if we were together or not, but like, you know, by the way that I reacted, I think we were together, and the way that he reacted, we were together in like in the dream. I caught him texting like girls, and I think the part that like was bad, it wasn't even about him texting like girls like to be like, oh, like you're with me and stuff. It was, I think I said that in the dream. It just, I don't know if I said it annoys me or pisses me off, but obviously it made me feel ashamed of me. But I said something along those lines. I was like, how you have time, or like you make the time to text and call or like FaceTime all these girls, and you don't do the same for your son. Like you know, like you don't text, you know, you don't call or FaceTime your son like as much as you do these girls, you know, like it's crazy. Or like text, like when you text, like ask about him, you know. So that's what pissed me off. And it was funny, I brought that up. He didn't like, you know, reply to that specifically, or like said anything about that part of it. A lot when, you know, when we were together, I've had multiple dreams of him like, you know, being unfaithful or cheating on me, or just like him being like, you know, different in my dream, you know. My dreams usually predict either what's about to happen like in the relationship, you know, or what has happened or what is currently happening. And a lot of the times, you know, like I had a dream that he was being unfaithful. I woke up and checked his phone, unfaithful, you know, like things like that, right? So then I sent him a picture because, oh, Camila was one, it was so funny. So my mom, I don't know if she did this on purpose, but like, or accident, she put her little like Cokes, because it was like, you know, the little size Cokes in the fridge, and it was in his section of the fridge where he has all his like snacks and like, you know, little smoothies and like cheese sticks, you know, his little area. In the morning, he loves opening the fridge, guys, like, oh my god. But like he went to go get it, and he got like 2 little Cokes, and he would be like, not open, you know, but he's just like like I'm drinking Coke, you know. And I sent a video of like him doing that to his father, and I was like, you know, and he was like, he knows where like the good stuff is, and I don't know. And I'm like, that's funny. I was like, yeah, I mean, I can just imagine, like, you know, how it feels to miss your son in that way, you know, like it must suck. Like I just me going to work, I miss him like so much, and being in a different state feels, or like not even being able to like see him like every day and stuff. And I was like, but I mean, you know, at the same time, you wanted that, like you decided to go, you know, no one forced you to go. I hope his family, like his mom, didn't force him to go. But yeah, you know, he was like, no, I thought he didn't have a choice, or I don't know what. And I was like, everyone, you always have a choice, regardless of what you do. When we're in a relationship, it's like out of nowhere he had all these like, you know, choices, you know. And it's so funny because I'm like, it's crazy how you like, you know, respect me like now and like everything more than when we were in a relationship, and that's very sad. But yeah, and I'm like, you had a choice, bro. And I sent him like from like past text messages that he sent and that I sent. I'm like, well, like we could like, you know, fix things, we could work things out. And then he's the one that's like, no, it's better if I go, I don't know what, like, you know. And I was like, okay. Like, girl, I have so much proof that you had a choice. I was like, I don't know, like more involvement on your end, like the fuck, like you literally don't do anything. Like in all honesty, you don't do anything. Like you visit, yeah, like 2-3 days, and like, okay, like lit, like I'm a dad, haha. And he leaves, and I'm just like, okay, like good job, I guess. I don't know if he thinks he's doing like the most or whatever, and it's like, oh girl, like comparing you to my dad, bro, you're nothing. Like in all honesty, like you don't even reach the level of like even the D in dad, you know what I'm saying? Like, but yeah, anyway, so then I was like, yeah, like I don't know, I really don't know how a parent could go. And I told him this like in person like multiple times, and then he obviously left me on red. Did not want to reply to that because he knows I'm right. And and that's another thing, when we're like together too, like in bed and stuff, when he was over, I was like, yeah, like I say like a lot of stuff, dude, and like you always leave me on red, like you just ignore me. And he's like, well, yeah, it's because part of what you're saying is always right. And I'm like, yeah, I know I'm right, girl. The fuck, do you think I'm gonna be wrong in saying all this shit? Like, the fuck. So he's like, yeah, because like he feels bad, you know, because he knows I'm right about him, you know, like basically being a bad parent, being, you know, like a not good dad in terms of not being present for his son, you know, or even like financially like helping out and stuff. But yeah, so it's so funny, and he knows this, you know, like the fuck, he can't be like, no, I didn't say that, Mia. I'm like, nah, girl, everything that I say is pretty true. So, you know, like, girl, like you were there, like your dick was literally inside me, like, don't lie. 2 hours passed by, you know, ignoring my text, obviously. all you can say is like, yeah, I'm a shitty dad. Like all you can do is agree, you know. What else can you do? And I was like, oh, he's sleeping, like, you know, because it was like his nap time around that time. And then later on that night, he asked, like, you know, like, I don't know if he asked what he ate or how is he doing, something like that. And I was like, oh, like, you know, I let him know what he ate and stuff, and if he liked it. I was like, yeah, he loves it, girl, what the fuck? And then he was like, can I see him or whatever, like, eating? And I was like, oh, like, he already ate. I didn't take pictures. I mean, girl, I'm more live in the moment. When I can't take pictures of him, I'll do it all the time, but, you know, usually I'm not really on my phone when, like, he's awake and stuff. I try my best to not be, you know. So then almost 24 hours passed, like, when he asked about him eating. And then I was like, oh, he's good. And he was like, can I see him? I was like, yeah, you know, whenever he asked, like, I'll try my best, you know, to send a picture or something. And at the time I was in the restroom, and so I took a screenshot of like the camera, because like, you know, we have a baby camera type of thing. So I did that because like, girl, I was like shitting, like I'm not gonna freaking get up and like go take a picture, like, girl, I do what I can. I believe it was like a day ago, I want to see. So I went with my sister to a groom and her boyfriend to Groom FWENDS in Pasadena. After we came back home, and it was fun, guys. Like, if you guys, I'll link her video down below too, or like somewhere here. You guys go watch it. It's so dope. So, you know, sometimes I check, sometimes I don't care, you know, but sometimes I check like who watches my story and stuff, you know, just to get like a like analytics about it, you know. Like, girl, I'm a creator, you know. Yeah, but yeah. So then I was like, I saw this one person. I was like, what the fuck? I don't know this person. Like, you know, I was like, I saw, and I was like, oh, a new follower maybe. I was like, they don't follow me. I was like, but they're checking out my stuff. And I was like, that's weird. And I was like, wait a minute. And then I like checked, and I was like, Zeus follows her. Like, my dog, Zeus, like his Instagram account follows her. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, that's weird. And I was like, because, you know, Zeus literally only follows family members, you know, if not like a dog or two, or like, you know, like Instagram accounts, you know. But I'm just like, that's weird. Like, he follows her and she follows him. So then I was like, this is the person that, like, you know, my ex is talking to, like the father of my child is talking to. And I was like, I like checked, she's 19, like she just turned 19 this year. And I was like, oh, at least it's not 16, at least she's of age in a way, like at least, like, you know, more than 19 compared to other times, you know. But yeah, I was just like, oh wow, you know. And then I think it was like her birthday is like a day after his or something, but it's like around the same time as his birthday. And I was like, whoa, that's weird. And then keeping in mind, I didn't think about her name, right, at this point. Like, I saw her Instagram, like, and stuff. But I was just like, oh, like, why is she, like, stalking me, though? Like, what the fuck? I don't know, that's kind of weird. Like, this is the thing I don't like about people. Like, it's like, girl, why stalking when you could follow me, you know? Like, stalk with no, like, worry, you know? Like, just follow me. Like, my account's open. I'm a pretty public person. I'm a content creator, guys, you know. I've been a content creator since, like, freaking, like, high school. Kind of before then, too, you know. Like, no judgment, you know. Like, if you're talking to the father of my child, bro, like, I really don't care. Like, I'm basically done with it. It's funny, because I even told him, I was like, are you, like, talking with anyone? Like, you need to talk with someone, bro. Like, you need to move on from me. Like, I'm like, girl, like, he really does, guys. Like, I'm good, you know. I've accepted everything, you know. Like, I'm good, you know. I'm not actively looking for someone though, like, else, but, you know, I'm good. And it's better if he looks for someone else, because he needs to move on, like, in terms of, like, stop wanting to, like, touch me, stop wanting to, like, you know, cuddle with me, stop wanting to, like, have sex with me, you know. And he's always the one that makes the first move, and, like, you know, I go along with it, because I'm just like, you know, might as well, you know. Not like no strings attached, but, like, you know, we're done, but, like, you know, it's fun, you know. Not okay, but, like, you know, that's over. Like, I'm really going to try my best to restrain myself from, like, doing stuff. But yeah, anyway, because obviously it hurts me and stuff, but, you know, I like, it's whatever, but it's whatever. I send it to my sister, and I'm like, dude, I think this is, like, a new person that he's talking to. And then she was like, well, keeping in mind, I didn't know at this point that she was, like, 19. Oh, like, you know, it makes sense, because, you know, Zeus follows her, she follows Zeus and stuff, you know. Context Zeus, right? And then she was like, oh, like, her, and then, you know, she tells her boyfriend everything, and I'm like, like, we're always telling shit. Like, my parents know about it. I told them, you know, kind of like right after. Oh, I forgot to tell my older sister. It's fine. I'll tell her later. But then I was like, like, and her boyfriend was like, dude, like she's 19. I was like, what? And I like checked, because I just checked like that she followed him. Like, I was like, oh, that's weird. And I just sent to my sister. I was like, dude, I guess what? Like she's stalking me. I was like, what? Like, I was like, why is this person stalking me? Like, follow me, girl. Like, let's be friends. Like, if we're gonna be involved with, like, the father of my child, girl, like, you might be the stepmom, girl. Like, let's be friends. Even though you're 19. And I was just like, oh my god, like, that's crazy. And then the boyfriend, like, my sister's boyfriend, like, Camilo's uncle, he was like, dude, she's 19. I was like, whoa, oh my god, I didn't even see that. And then my sister was like, like, looking everything. My sister don't give a fuck, and I'm like, me too. I mean, I just don't really care to watch her stories or anything, or like to see stuff. I really don't give a fuck, honestly. I was just like shook, because I was like, the thing that like got me was like, she follows my ex's dog. Like, why not just follow my ex's account? Like, that's weird. But anyway, so then my sister was like, oh my god, dude, like she has the same birthday as him or whatever. Like, all the information I told you guys basically that I got from them too, because they were like looking over stuff and stuff. And all I know is that she follows this, and this followed her, and it's very apparent because like she stands out completely from all who he follows and stuff. It's hilarious. And what's funnier is that I think that same morning or 2 days ago, I posted on like Marley's account, like our dog Marley, being like, oh, I miss you, Zeus, hope you're doing well, because I'm funny like that, not knowing that I think by this time he was already talking to this person, and Zeus had already followed her. And it maybe looks like I did it on purpose. I don't know. I just did it to be funny. And then so then I checked, and I was like, oh, like she's like washing my stuff, like sauce. So then I was like, okay. And then I think I checked like a highlight of hers, because my sister sent it to me. She was like, oh, I don't know if she lives in Texas, but she posted this in Texas. And I was like, oh, that's sus. And then at the time when I caught my boyfriend cheating with, like, maybe the first time, he was talking to a 16-year-old, like a minor, and she was like, is this the same minor? Because 3 years passed, she would be like at this age. I was like, no, I think it was different, because like I think she was like a lighter skin like person, like still like Latina, but like lighter skin. And I was like, oh, that's like I was like, I don't think it's her. I don't think it'd be her, but I don't know. Like, it's sus if it is her, kind of like, you waited, like, that's sus. A day passed, and I was like looking, and in the morning she saw my story. Like, I checked, I was like, that's funny, like, I don't, just follow me, girly, like, like I don't know why people stalk. And it's so funny because I told my sister, I was like, all the girls that like my ex cheated on me with, or that he's been with and stuff, and I don't know what, like, I've never blocked anyone, like in that way. I block weirdos, like more guys, but I've never blocked any of the the girls, like that he's interacted with or had anything with, because the girl, like, they watch my stories and stuff, and I love it. Guys, y'all know I love attention. Like, then like this, the views is what keeps me going. But it's the truth. Like, I mean, I'm a content creator. Like, I need views, I need engagement, so it's great, But it's like, might as well just follow me or subscribe to me. Subscribe to me. Really do not give a fuck. Like, I'm basically here for my son, you get me? Like, type of vibes. Okay, I'm in a huge mess. Oh yeah, so then, my sister and I have been talking about this and how like sus and weird it is. And then, like, she watched it here, but obviously had not watched it here, and probably doesn't, like, hadn't had a chance to watch it here or something. I checked though, and I was like, what the fuck? She doesn't see my story anymore. I was like, I swear to God, she was there. I was like, that's weird. I was like, no way. Did she block me? She blocked me, dude. Because I checked, and I was like, basically that the account does not exist, and I don't know what. I was like, bro, she blocked me. And then I was like, because I have like 4 or 5 other Instagram accounts. Well, I run Marley's, and my sister used to run it, but then we switched, because once I gave Benny to her, she has Benny's now, and I have Marley. And then my dog Bonita, my cat Toby, and then my other music one, Mia Adeline Official. And then I help my sister run her grooming account, but it's her grooming account, it's her account, I just post. And it's so funny, she blocked me on all of them, guys. Like, this person took the time to block. I always tell me, I'm like, I can't relate, what the fuck, like, that's funny, guys. Oh my god, it's so funny, like, a person to go through, like, bro, she blocked my dog's account, she blocked my cat's account. And like, it's just so funny. Like, I don't mean to like embarrass her, but it's funny. Because my sister, I was like, wait, no, but did she block me? And then my sister sent me her account on all the all my like Instagram accounts that like I run. I was like, bro, she blocked me. Like it was as if my dog's, because you know it's basically my dog's account. I act like my dog, you know. I'm like, she blocked me. It's so funny. My sister checked, I'm like, she didn't block me, and I was like, oh, like she probably doesn't know that you're my sister or anything. And then she's like, I don't give a fuck, I watch her stories and stuff. And she's like, should I follow her? I'm like, low key, it'll be funny. All my sister's pet accounts and stuff, like she didn't block them, but it's weird because she blocked my sister's grooming account. Like I don't know if she thinks that's me or that's weird, guys. But anyway, then the thing that got me though, I was like, I realized her name. Once I realized her name, I was like, okay, everything's just, it just took a different kind of tone and turn, guys. So her name is literally what I would have named Camilo if Camilo was a girl. That's why, and you guys know this, you know, Camila. I've literally said it so many times before, like so many times. Because like, you know, like it's like Camila, and I was like, oh, Camilo makes more sense because Camilo Septimo and everything that we went through with my, like, you know, the father of my child, like, you know, y'all know the story behind the name, you know. But then I was like, I realized, and I was like, wait, sus, because that's like her, like at, like, you know, it's like a part of it. It's like Cammy, and that's what I call her, my son, you know, like that's his nickname short. I'm like, Cammy, you know, like come here and stuff. I used to call him that more when he was like more like younger, but I still call him that, you know, and I still referenced him like when I text people or like, oh, like Cammy, you know, this. That's weird. It's weird, guys. Like this person has a name of like what our daughter's name would have been if, you know, if Camilo was born a girl, but at the same time he has like the feminine version of my son's name, of our son's name. Then I'm like, what the fuck, like did he just, because he had mentioned that this way before, like with the breakup and everything, of why, you know, I broke up with him, like, or what basically like made, like triggered it. There's so many things that he did, but like that was just like my last straw that he did, right? Like I saw on his Instagram all of these different girls, you know, and I was like, what the fuck, like recent searches, you know. And then when I had asked about him, like, you know, doing that, all he told me was like, you know, he told me a lot of different things, but then one of the things he told me was, I usually do that, like I usually look up like A, B, C, D, E, F, G girls' names, and then I just click on each one, and I'm just like, so I'm like, that's weird, because what if he looked up like our son's name, or he was about to look up our son's name or something, and like her name popped up, or like, you know, all these girls' names popped up? That's just weird. Like I told myself, like it was like very pedophile predator vibes. Like that's sus. Like that makes me feel very uncomfortable. Like I don't know about you, but like, you know, this is just like, you know me, you know, I obviously have very strong feelings, because that name would have been our daughter's name if we had a daughter. You know, like I said, at the same time, that's like my son's name. Like that's weird. You know, it's just weird, guys. Of course, he lied about being like, yeah, I want to be back together again. I want to work on myself. Like this time it's gonna be different. Like I'm not gonna take a month. I'm gonna come like right back. Like oh, he misses us, and I don't know what. And I'm like, girly. And then this happened. I'm just like shook. But it's funny how like, you know, it's funny, and then it's weird at the same time, and strange and very disturbing. And I told my parents about it. And then my mom, you know, like she was like, you know, we're both like, yeah, he can do whatever he wants. But it's just the fact that like this person did all this, you know, went to the extra extent of blocking my pet's accounts. At the same time, I don't know why they just don't follow each other, like, you know, like themselves. Like that's weird. Or at this point, I don't know if they do, because she blocked me. She probably does maybe now, but it's just funny. And then like, girl, you're literally texting him through his dog account, or maybe like his actual account, but like you follow him in his dog account. That's weird. Anyway, but then when I told my mom, I was like, dude, I didn't even realize her name. Like it took me, obviously, because like I don't give a fuck, you know. But I'm like realizing, I'm like, oh my god, like her name, bro. I told my mom, dude, the look on her face, she was disturbed as fuck. She was like, oh my fucking god, like that's weird. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm like, that's weird as fuck. This is what my life has been like lately with my baby daddy. Guys, my son's good. I'm good. You know, not disturbed. I'm fine. You know, it's disturbing about what we learned and found, you know, regarding this whole little situation. But one of the times that he came, like, we went to Target. I don't know if it was that same day we went to the water park, but for the first time after like a couple months went by from when he gave me the 40 bucks for Camilo, he actually got him his pull-ups for the very first time. He was supposed to get him pull-ups and wipes. He only got pull-ups. and it was like 43 bucks, and he was like, I only have 57 to spend, basically like I can't buy the wipes. And it was kind of funny. I had enough money to buy the pull-ups as well as all the other things I got him, right? Like new bed sheets, toys, like backpacks, like sunglasses, you know, like a lot of stuff, snacks, you know, a lot of stuff I got him. And it's just funny, you know, because I think he probably felt like, oh, I'm dad of the year or whatever, like for buying pull-ups for the very first time, right? Very funny. And keep in mind, he has not bought him like diapers since way before when we broke up, which is kind of hilarious. But anyway, yeah, I just want to put that out there. I mean, I did put it out there on Instagram, but you know, just wanted to let you guys know. Como tiene dinero para unas cosas ni para otras, like importantes. Crazy. Yeah, I mean, I'm still gonna obviously respond and reply to him if, you know, he asks about our son and everything. You know, that, you know, I'm never going to take that away from my son. You know, I always told my mom, like, yeah, if he wants to go with his dad once he's older, like, for sure. I just need to make sure that the dad has, you know, adequate items for my son, has a stable place for my son, a good amount of space for my son, you know, make sure that he's gonna make sure he has all his items that he needs for my son, you know, for our son, but my son. So, you know, yeah, but at the moment, girl, as I've said before, I'm primary parent. Have a stable place for him, have a stable job. We have, like, you know, literally, like, he's not at a daycare or anything. Not that being at a daycare is bad or anything, but, you know, he has close family members that watch him and take care of him. You know, like, thank God I have that, you know, like, going for me and, like, with me. You know, he has a lot of aunts and uncles in his life. Very, very consistent, you know, very there for him. And yeah, he can't say the same. So, you know, this is my life, my story. I'm very excited, guys, for my hair. Like, I love you guys so much, and it feels so good, like, to obviously get this off of my chest. It's just so funny, guys. But also, please don't look up the account, guys. I know y'all are gonna be chismosas as fuck, but, you know, like, not kidding. I don't give a fuck what y'all do. But, you know, yeah, the father has not told me about this person though, and it's funny because I did ask him, like, hey, are you like talking to anyone or anything? I didn't even know, you know, like, in terms of like, are you having sex with someone else, because I don't want to freaking contract anything, right? But also, like, freaking wear a condom, right? But he's like, no, I'm not doing anything, I'm not texting anyone, like, you know, kind of like, you're the only one and stuff. And I'm like, okay, like, I don't care, you know, we're not together, or like, we're not, you know, even anywhere close to that point. Like, if you are trying to, like, you know, build us back, like, girl, you gotta start at zero, like, at the bottom. But it's just so funny, and I'm like, when he lied to, like, all this stuff that I learned about this person, I'm like, that's sus. Like, it's weird. I don't even know if this person knows, but probably they do know, because I mean, they stalked my profile, obviously. It's weird, it's weird. And I'm like, just the fact that they blocked my dog's account, guys, that sends me, bro. Like, I don't know, I cannot imagine blocking someone's dog's Instagram account. Okay, anyway, alright guys, I love you so much. I need to go shower, like, real fast before he wakes up, so I love you. Also, new intro, if y'all didn't notice from the last video, new intro and new outro. Let me know how you guys like it. I'm funny.